this is going to be kind of a long video, I guess, because I'm going to go through the whole saga, give my point of view, put it all out there. I'm not going to block, obscure, talk about Mark behind his back, or do any of those things. I've been able to not do that for close to a year and a half now since he's had a problem with me. I have discussed the fact that he's upset with me, with my close inner circle, but even when customers have brought it to my attention that Mark was trashing me, I always try to take the high road with it, and I never, well, I'm not going to say never, because I'm not sure, but I did my best to never slam and put him down or do any of those things. I've been set up out at the Belleville Flea Market at the St. Clair Fairgrounds for about 20 years now. Next to me, there's a family that sets up across the aisle, and they've been out there for like 40 years as a family. And being in close proximity, and they're very nice people. They've helped me, I've helped them. We've done business together. We've had conversation. We like each other. We're friends. I enjoy their company, and I think they enjoy mine. And I want to say, I guess about 15 years ago ish, Mark started showing up. I'm not exactly sure when he started dating his wife Nikki. Nikki is his wife, and she's a member of the family that speaking of about. So Mark and his family started showing up on a regular basis, and Mark and I would speak too, and we would talk about toys and things like that. I was friends with his son Cody, and his son Cody helped me several times. While he was out there, he actually helped me on a couple projects outside of the flea market. I like and respect Cody a lot. I like and respect Nikki's family a lot, and at that point, I liked and respected Mark a lot. And I would see him at shows, and sometimes he would set up, and sometimes he wouldn't, and he was always kind of sporadic out there. He wasn't a lifer like me, but he would be on a regular basis, and then he would take a break, or he would whatever. But so, and then I started seeing him at shows, and Mark was getting into the business, and I would see him at shows, and same thing. We always at least said hello. Sometimes talked about business, but we were friends. Mark had a base of knowledge that I didn't have in board games and a few other toy lines that I'm not familiar on, and vice versa. And we would always help each other identify things, or for lack of a better term, give each other advice and share our knowledge. The only issue that I was aware of that we had at that time, and this was resolved, was on Saturday mornings when I would be out at yard sales looking for stuff to buy to resell. I would call Mark and ask him his advice on something. Like, well, there's some old board games here. Should I buy this? Should I buy that? And Mark always shared his information with me. But he didn't know how to approach me about it, and his wife came to me and said, hey, could you stop calling before, I think it was 9 or maybe it was 10, on Saturdays. Mark likes to sleep in. He works all week, and he catches up on his sleep then. I'm like, of course. I had no idea. I assumed Mark was out there in the hunt as well, but of course I apologize, because I was calling early. I'm out yard selling by 6:30, 7 o'clock, and I was calling that early, and if he was sleeping till 9 or 10, I'm robbing him of a couple hours of sleep. I apologized immediately, and I stopped calling at those times. I didn't stop talking to Mark. I wasn't offended. I was concerned that I offended him by calling then. I didn't know, and I stopped once I was told. Okay, so years go by, and Mark progressed in this business, and progressed quickly and successfully. He came up with a plan of attack that worked for him. He set up out at the flea market in Granite City on a weekly basis, and was able to go from a small booth to having an actual build-out store inside there. And him and his family and friends and employees, they turned that into a pretty thriving business for Mark. And Mark was able to stop working and start doing this full time. Some things changed, and at that time, for years, he really wasn't doing the flea market. He was focused there. He grew, and he started sending employees back out to the flea market, and sometimes Mark would set up, but most of the time, it was his employees. Again, talked to them, made friends with them, shared knowledge, whatever. We looked out for each other. Great. Everything was going along fine. And then Mark opened his shop, Toys of Our Youth, and I was excited for Mark. It was a big step, and he did it. Great. And I was envious on the level of, I had always wanted to have a brick and mortar store, but I wasn't sure it was the right fit. I had a career. I had my job paid a decent wage. It offered me benefits, and I wasn't willing to give up those securities. So I really admired Mark for having the courage to take the leap, and I don't think he ever really struggled. I mean, Mark took the leap and he made it work for him, and I think that's awesome. His items were always a little different, and the way he got his items was a little different. I buy more things from the public. Mark, I think, tends to buy things more from the distributors. I don't like those percentages as much, but to be honest, I have been considering more and more dealing with them. It has nothing to do with Mark. It has to do with the fact that I have my own brick and mortar, but I'm getting there. Okay. All right. So we're friends. Everything's going along fine. So there did seem to feel like there was an underlying tension at times, but Mark still always talked to me and always said hello, and we would chat. Okay. So there was some type of dust up over something that I thought was kind of silly, and I didn't quite understand a point that he was making on his personal page on Facebook. And I asked the question, he answered it, I responded that I'm sorry I didn't understand. He goes, well then don't comment or something like that. And next thing I know, he blocked me. I've lost plenty of friends for political reasons, or been blocked by him anyway. And I really didn't. I didn't feel like I was attacking him. I was trying to understand his point of view, and he put it out there, and I was commenting on it. It's basically my point of view on the situation. I asked him about it. He told me he did, but we still said hello. After a month or so, I got over it, and we spoke to each other just as freely as ever. And I really wasn't even that upset. I didn't stop talking to him. I just was kind of like, God, that kind of sucks. But I was like, okay, that's what he chooses to put on his Facebook. And Facebook can be, as this is proof, a very toxic environment. And you have to remove people if you feel like they're adding toxicity to your life. And evidently Mark felt like I was. I respect that. And I respected the fact that he still was polite, cordial, even friendly to me after that in person. Okay? Alright. So, when it changed was around the time that I opened the shop. Me and I had a partner at the time, and we opened the shop. I think it got a little weird before then. The timeline's a little hazy, but all this stuff happened around the same time. Okay. So, not too long after I opened the shop, Mark stopped talking to me, other than a hi. And he may address a direct question. No more conversation. He wouldn't make eye contact. I had to initiate everything. He would respond to me if I spoke to him, but it was very cold, very quick, and very curt. That was it, just the facts, matter of fact, and done. And I wasn't sure, because at that time, I'm not attacking him, but Mark was starting to develop health problems. He's had health issues. And I thought, well, maybe he's just got a whole bunch of stuff going on, and he's not happy. Maybe it has nothing to do with me, right? So I have a group of friends that I go to dinner with on a regular basis, and we talk about life and business, and we're all in this crazy business, right? And all of my friends, we've all shared our mutual knowledge and everything, and like I said, we talk about things that are going on. And not just this business, we also talk about our lives, and we bust balls, and it's a lot of fun. I look forward to those meals quite a bit. All right. So we're talking. I go, hey, look, I got something going on with me, and I kind of want to talk about it. So I start telling, I'm like, yeah, there's a guy, and I didn't say his name. I didn't point fingers at him or anything. And I go, there's a guy that I was friends with, or I'm friends with, and all of a sudden he's kind of cold to me, and I don't know if it's me or if he's got other stuff going on or whatever. And one of my friends interrupted me and goes, is it Mark? And I go, yeah. And he goes, he absolutely is furious with you. And I'm like, okay, why? And he told me that he felt, this was relayed to me secondhand, that he felt I was copying him, that I started selling pops because he sells pops, and I guess that all his success that I saw him having with pops, this isn't the truth, but this is what I was relayed to me as far as Mark's point of view. That I copied him, and I was only selling pops because Mark sells pops. And I was like, well, it's bullshit. The truth of the matter is that for about 2 years I've been selling pops, but I've been selling them online. What I would do is I would go to the Toy Man Toy Show. I'm sorry, Chris, but I did. I would go to the Toy Man Toy Show, and there was a gentleman who I believe lived up by Troy, Missouri, and he sold pops. And for years, I buy in bulk a lot. And for years, I would go up to dealers that were doing blowouts or whatever, and a lot of times I would buy their tables. There's one guy that I'm friends with now that when we first met, the first time he set up a Toy Man, he had a lot of cool stuff. And I walked up to his table and said, look, I'll give you this much for everything on your table. And he said that's always just that kind of like, that I don't want to say freaked him out, but he just was like, wow, this guy just offered to buy everything on my table. We weren't able to come to a dollar amount, but he thought that was wild. Okay, so this guy up in Troy, it comes to Toy Man, he's selling pops, and he's selling them for $5 a piece. I would pick up a pop, and right in front of him, and I would zap it with my Amazon app, see that I could sell it for $15 or above, and I would set it aside and buy it. And I would just do that to all his $5 pops. And then I would go over to his $10 pops. And if I could sell them for 20 or above, I would buy those. Well, then it got to the point where he was like, dude, I tell you what, I'll sell you all of my $5 pops for, I don't want to say the price, but it was a substantial markdown. He's like, I'm already in the profit in all these, and I just want them gone. That's why I'm selling them for $5. If you take everything on the table, you can have it for this price. So I started buying them all. And at that margin, then all of a sudden I could sell them for $7 or $8, $10 on Amazon and still be making money, and it was worth my time. And it was incredibly easy. You just scan it, you put it online, you got to ship it, you put it in a box, and you send it out. It's real quick, okay? So I've been doing this for about 2 years, and I never brought my pops to any of the shows I did. And I'm going back in the timeline to explain what's going on. Okay, so that's when I started selling pops. And nobody, if you didn't see me buying these large boxes of pops, you wouldn't really know I was selling pops, because when I did shows, I carried more vintage toys and in-box stuff and comic books and things like that. And I saw a lot of people selling pops, so I didn't really bring my pops there. I was able to flip them on Amazon. Well, then I started to get tubs full of these pops, and the flea market. I have 4 tables out there, and I've always had 2 tables that I've always kind of blown stuff out on. Stuff that I was in the profit, stuff that I didn't think I was going to sell, whatever, and I would just put it out there and I would blow it out. Well, since I was already in the profit on these pops, I would take the pops out there and I would do a lot of $5 sales. I would do buy two get one frees. I started doing buy one get ones, and all this stuff. And then one day I'm at home, and Mark sends me a text that says "grr," and I go, "What's going on?" He goes, "You're selling pops at the flea market." And I just kind of laughed it off, and Mark didn't really treat me any differently. I didn't start selling pops at the flea market because Mark was out there selling pops. I started selling pops at the flea market because I had a whole bunch of pops in my home that I couldn't move, that I had been selling for a long time, and I was developing an inventory of them, and it was time to start getting rid of them, okay? I buy a lot of other things outside of these types of collectibles that are in my store. I buy Hallmark ornaments, I buy Precious Moments, I buy Yadro. I buy anything that I can make $1 and a dime, I'm in, okay? So, and I always have, and he knows that. He's seen my booth out at the flea market, because there I have a more of a menagerie of items to sell. So for him to find out that that's how he felt, that I was copying him by selling pops, and that all of a sudden, like, I shouldn't be selling them. He also told me that he was upset that I was on saying STL Pop Collectors. Okay? Well, I had always kind of shied away from selling pops, like I said, on at shows and things like that. And when me and Vince opened the store, about a month before we opened, a customer of mine was going through some things, and he needed to sell off his Star Wars collection, and it was a substantial amount of money. Me and Vince were in the process of opening the store, and we had done joint buys in the past before. It was one of the reasons why we thought we could do the partnership and it would be successful. So this opportunity came up, and I said, "Look, do you want in on this for half, and we'll split it up?" And he goes, "Sure." So me and I negotiate the deal. We get a price that we can live with, and the guy goes, "Hey, look, I tell you what, my wife has got a pretty good pop collection. Will you guys buy for this much?" And Vince said, "Well, get a list." And Vince knew pops better than me. He was selling pops as well at the flea market and other places. He looked over the list, and he was, "Oh my God, Tom, there's some really good pops in here. We should do this." Okay, so we buy them, we split those pops, and we open the store, and we start our pop wall here. And it was a little small section. Now it's a large section, but it was a small section when we first opened. And Vince told me about STL Pop Collectors, and I'm like, at that time I really wasn't doing a lot of Facebook marketing. I was doing more and more on my page and things like that, but I wasn't doing a whole lot. And he's like, "We really should get on STL Pop Collectors and start advertising that we have these pops." So we did. It was Vince's idea. Vince will tell you that it was his idea for us to get on there. And then a few people reached out and asked if we bought. So then we bought. We started flipping those, making money, and the pops started growing in the store and started becoming a part of our store. Mark and his store had nothing to do with the decision of how that snowball took off. It was organic, and it happened because we had the courage to open our own store, basically, and saw that this was a market that we should get into. What doesn't make sense about Mark getting upset about me selling similar items to him is we do shows all the time where mutually at the same time where everybody's selling the same thing as us or something similar or close to it. That is never feared. I've never feared that. I've never been, like, when I was out at the flea market, I've had other vendors that would, that the director out there would be like, "Well, we're going to put you here," and people would be like, "Well, I don't want to set up next to him. He sells the same thing as me." That type of mentality never bothers me because I do conventions and shows all the time where everybody's selling the same thing. If I am selling this bottle of water for $1 and you're selling it for 50 cents on your table, that's none of my business. It's your choice to sell it for 50 cents. If I choose to sell it for $1, it's mine. If everybody buys yours first and then comes by mine, great. If I figure out that, well, I can't sell for 50 cents and I'm going to stop selling this. But it's not it's not personal, it's business. So anyway, so Mark was all upset about that. I have some notes here. That's what the yellow pad is about, because like I said, I knew I was going to be going all over the place. Okay. So I'm told about this. I don't treat Mark any differently. If anything, I try to be extra friendly to let him know that if he wanted to talk about this, if he got over it or whatever, that the door was open and that we could continue the friendship. I always said hello to him when I saw him, and I went out of my way to direct customers at my booth to him. When I saw that he was promoting that he was having something going on in his store, I would tell people, hey, you should check out Mark's store. I really went out of my way to be nice to him, to let him know that, hey, the door's open if you want to work this out. Okay. So, Vince and I are running the store together, and every now and then a mutual customer would come in and go, Mark is trashing you when I go into the store. He's really putting you down. I'm like, he's upset with me. Mark's issues, Mark's. Maybe someday he'll talk to me about it. I like Mark. I wish him nothing but the best. Hopefully he'll get over it. They'd be like, yeah, but he's really... And I'm like, I don't care. He's upset. He'll either choose to get over it or he won't. But I'm not mad at him. I can't control what he's doing. And I always try to take the high road. And that was always my point of view. And it would seem like once or twice a month this would happen. Somebody would be like, hey man, I was over at Mark's shop. He's trashing you. That's fine. I can't stop him. I can't control him. Mark will get over it when he gets over it. I don't care. And they would try to tell me. I'm like, I don't want to know. I don't want to get mad at Mark. He's upset with me. His issue is his. It's fine. I don't care. And I did care that he was upset with me, but I just was like, I'm not engaging in this. Okay. So this was going on. So every now and then there would be postings in Pop Collectors or online that would say that basically it would have that lock on it, and it would say that I can't see this when this happens. Person sharing it doesn't want you to see it, etc., etc. I don't know exactly what it says, but I think you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, on Facebook, I had a suspicion that he was probably saying something about me, or he was doing a sale or something. He was doing something that obviously he didn't want me to know. Fine. That's his prerogative. Okay. So, recently, it's been brought to my attention that some of those posts, if not all of them, he's been taking passive-aggressive shots at me. Hasn't named the store or me personally, but he's talked about it enough that if you have any type of inclination or knowledge of me or knowledge of Alliance Comics Toys and Games, that you can tell what's going on. I'm not okay with that. I'm not. Going on a public forum and trying to cause me harm is malice. Not having the courage to confront me or to post it so I know as well is cowardice. I don't respect it. And I'm losing whatever level of respect I still had for Mark because of this. Be a man. You got an issue with me, bring it to me. If you don't want to bring it to me, don't bring it to anybody else. Don't take my kindness for weakness up to this point, Mark. I am hurt more than I'm mad. I liked and respected Mark. I don't know where this is coming from. And it's not good for either one of our businesses. If we go at each other on a regular basis, it will end up in my opinion, mutual destruction. People will get tired of the drama. People will get tired of basically the bullshit and won't have any respect for either one of us. My store is 45 minutes away from your store one way. I don't think I'm affecting your bottom line that much. There are 6 or 7 shops within a 5-mile radius of me, and we all get along. We've all shared contacts. We've all recommended that other people shop each other's stores. Some have sent me leads. Okay, so we can cooperate, and we are all in the same vicinity from each other. You are in another state, several counties away from me, and you're worried about me? And as far as pop collectors go, it's an open forum. I'm not the only dealer on there. There's a lot of individual people buying and selling on there as well. You're not mad at them. Okay, and it's not, and I didn't copy you. I got on there because Vince recommended it. Some of the things I've heard he's upset about is like gift cards. I didn't start selling gift cards because he sells gift cards. I started selling gift cards because when the lockdown happened, Square, the company, reached out to me and said, hey, a lot of businesses are getting by during this hard time by selling gift cards. You should do this too. We'll give you a special rate. We want to help you out. I had people who wanted my store to make it and wanted to show their support, and I'm extremely grateful for them. And some, out of the blue, I would get gift cards, Visa gift cards from people. I had people give me items worth several $100s for me to sell online or here or wherever to help me keep going through that period of time. And fortunately, and I kept telling them, I'm doing fine. I sound scared, but I'm doing fine. And they'd be like, no, Tom, I don't care. I want you to have this. I want you to have this. And I'd be like, I feel like it's charity. I don't need charity. I was doing well selling on Amazon and eBay at the time, okay? And I got through the lockdown just fine. But this was at the beginning of it. Square's marketing team was trying to figure out ways to help themselves out, so they gave me a deal to be able to sell gift cards. It wasn't because of Toys of Our Youth. And Mark was not the first person, the originator, and it's not his intellectual property to be able to be selling gift cards. Alright. Next, Facebook Lives. I didn't start doing them because of Mark. I started doing them because when the lockdown happened, all these dealers were like, I need a new forum to be able to do it, and I started seeing a lot of people doing it. And I started seeing a really close friend of mine that I like and respect quite a bit. He sells similar items that I sell, and we share ideas, thoughts, whatever, information, dollar amounts, everything. And I called him up and said, hey, how's that working for you? He said, Tom, it is fantastic. I am doing very well. I am very happy with this process. If this keeps up, I might stop doing conventions. I mean, I'm making a good chunk of change every Friday doing this. You should do it too. So I started doing it. Wasn't because of Mark, and Mark was not, again, the originator of this. People have been selling on Facebook in this way for a long time, and like I said, when the lockdown happened, people were looking for new ways, and a lot of people who had never sold in this type of venue started selling at that time, and Mark was one of them as well. Okay, so there was an issue that was brought to my attention about, and I'll just say it plainly, I won't talk around it. The last pop sale I had, the day of the sale, I got from Hot Topic. I don't buy very rarely. I've only bought like maybe 3 or 4 times from distributors as far as buying pops. So Hot Topic, the Marvel Zombies were coming out, and I had some Hot Topic cash. So I bought some zombie Wolverines to sell. And some other ones are coming. But they were the first ones to come. And the day of the sale, the last sale that I did, the Marvel Zombie Wolverine came out. I brought him to the shop, I looked him up online, and on that day, at that time, ended recently sales, that pop was selling for $30. If you've watched my pop sales before, I do 20% off, and usually I use the Funko app to price my pops. But it was so new that they didn't have insufficient data to be able to give me a price. So I went to my next price guide, eBay, and like I said, I saw that they were selling for 30 bucks. 20% off was 24 bucks. So I was selling for 24 bucks. The pops, I guess the retail is like 12 bucks or whatever at Hot Topics. Hot Topic, in with the hot cash that I put in, I think I was paying like $9 a piece for them. I was expecting to sell them for $15 a piece, and I sold the American Psycho ones for something similar to that, around $15. Anyway, so he went on Pop Collectors and was like, "Oh, you should be careful and don't let somebody take advantage of you and blah 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 blah." Is what I'm told, and I'm paraphrasing because people started sharing that he was doing this, and it's none of his business. I don't go to his store and price everything out. I don't have the same selling philosophy. Somebody shared with me that, like, when the Bill Murray chase came out, he sells the chase for, he buys them directly from the distributor, pays what he pays through there, and when you get a chase, you're hoping to get at least one in a box of 6. And he has a policy that if you want the chase for 40 bucks, let's say, you have to buy the common still for 15 or whatever his price point is on that. I'm just using those as examples. I don't know if those are his exact price point. I wouldn't do that, okay? But that's my choice not to do that. I can't see getting the discount from the distributor, getting that pop for the same price as the common, and then tripling or doubling or whatever, putting a lot more on the price because it's the chase, which is your prerogative, and I would do that. But I wouldn't force somebody to buy another pop just because you're afraid of getting stuck with all the commons. That's the cost of doing business. If you're lucky enough to be able to sell the one for 40 and you got 6 in there and it cost you 60 bucks, then you can sell the other ones for below cost and make money on those. That's the way I would approach it. But that's it's none of my business, and it's none of his business how I sell my things, okay? Just yesterday, I had a pop in the store, and it was one of my grails, and I had a price. Guy came in, looked at it. He got on his phone, he looked up the price, and said, "Wow, look at this. I think it was a $180 pop. And now the price guide is showing that it sells for over $300. The price had gone up. I honored my price. I didn't say give that back to me. I didn't take it away from him. I put it in my store for that price, and he got it for almost half of what the market's going for. It's my fault for not pricing it properly. If I overprice something and nobody ever buys it, that's on me, okay? Those pops, every one that I got in sold out as fast as I put them up. I think I had 3, and it was just like bam, bam, bam. They all sold for that price. If you don't want to buy it for that price, that's your prerogative. You don't have to do business with me. But for another businessman to be like, "Oh, you shouldn't do that," and I was upset by that. And Mark put up one of his videos that I could see where he got new items in his store, and he was selling some figures, and I went and I was price comparing them with what the market was showing on eBay. They were selling anywhere from $10 to $15 to $20 less than he was charging. I didn't get on there and make a comment or anything like that. I didn't comment on it until right now, and I'm using that as an example of, you're a fucking hypocrite, Mark. Okay? You're the victim of the same thing of commerce or whatever or whatever, all this shit. So you do the same thing, whether you mean to or not. And like I said, if the app says it's this, I sell it for that. If the app, that's how I do my business, and it's my business. It's not your business, and keep your nose out of my business, okay? That's Jim. That's pretty much the whole saga. Let me get over what's in Facebook. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. I am open to speaking to Mark, but only in a public forum. I don't want I want to do it on Facebook, on YouTube, somewhere like that with a moderator where he can give his point of view, I'll give my point of view. Maybe we can work it out, maybe we can't. But I have no desire to do this in the shadows. I'm tired of him speaking my name or doing it. I have no control over it. I am not asking anybody not to patronize the store. I wouldn't do that. And as far as the business, I wish him the best. I hope that he continues to thrive. I'm flourishing. I'm doing great. I hope he's doing well. And what he's doing over in his store has no effect on me, other than emotionally. And as a man, I just felt like I had to finally address this, because it just kept people just kept telling me. And then, like I said, when he took it to a public forum, such as Facebook, and I don't know if other social media or not, but I do know there, I felt it was time to address it. And if he wants to address it, he should address it with me. And if he wants to address it publicly, I will do that too. I don't care. I'm hoping that this will be the last time I may comment on it. I hope going forward that Mark will cease and desist. But if not, I guess I'll make another video or do whatever I've got to do from there. I don't know. But like I said, the door's open. If you want to talk, I'll talk. If you don't, that's fine too. But if you're not going to be a man and face me, or if you're going to continue to have something to say it to me. If not, please keep your name, my name, and my business out of your mouth. And I'll continue to do the same, because like I said, up until this point, I have not told a customer, a casual friend, any of this going on. It's all been within my inner circle. That's it. People that I was seeking advice on how to deal with this, and I was hoping that we could salvage the friendship, and I think we're beyond that, because you're acting in malice. I've done nothing to you. I owe you no amends, and my respect is almost gone, Mark. All right, that's it. That's the whole kit and caboodle. Thanks for watching. I'm not turning comments off. If you want to comment, that's fine. If you put up just hate or whatever, I'm deleting that. I'm not saying that you can't criticize, that you can't make a valid point. I will allow all that, but if you're just like, you suck or whatever, it's going away. I don't have time for trolls, but if you want to troll, that's fine too. I don't care. I've had enough. That's it, guys. Thanks for watching.